First of all, I'd like to thank Lieutenant Governor Brad Owen for convening this discussion on therapeutic justice for problem gamblers in Washington State. And thanks to all of you who are attending today for engaging in this proactive discussion on this hidden addiction termed by the American Medical Association as having a devastating burden on human health and development, and also as seen by the American Psychiatric Association as a disorder of impulse control, as of yet really not dealt with proactively in the criminal justice system. If I weren't here in Amherst today conducting gambling court, I would certainly be there with you in person to share with you how I feel that the health and welfare of Washington State's residents, as well as of your budget, would be far better served by gambling court. I'm hoping that you'll all become champions and advocates of this important issue. In the traditional criminal justice system, we like to pigeonhole people as being criminals. They're bad people, so therefore we punish them, put them in correctional facilities, or we put them on endless periods of probation. At no time do we really focus on the disease process that brought about the criminal behavior to begin with. If you have a disease, you treat the disease. You don't punish the disease. We interdict and cut through it. We kind of focus on the aspect of dealing with this addiction, dealing with the disease that they have, allow them to gain back their self-dignity and their personal responsibility, and then return to the society with the idea that they're not going to commit a crime again because of the addiction. This is what the traditional criminal justice system doesn't get. Moreover, the more important part is you can do it in a much more cost-effective way, probably 1/6 or 1/7 of the cost, because there's so much expenditure involved in putting people in jail, in keeping them in jail, because what you're doing is you're focusing on the person. And through a managed, contractually based program, bring them back to society as a productive member. Gambling court or drug court, no matter which one it is no day at the beach. It's far tougher for that defendant to comply with a program that could extend beyond a year in duration than it ever would be for the typical quick plea and out type of endeavor. And in a diversionary court, based on progress, we may reward them with certain different types of accolades or particular tokens, or we may sanction them. And if the behavior is intentional, they may serve time in jail for a day or two. When the program is completed, we graduate them from the program and then deal with their criminal charge by virtue of either a reduction to a lesser charge or what we call in New York an adjournment and contemplation of dismissal. And I'm not suggesting for a moment that we coddle individuals who commit serious crimes, who reap havoc and damage and loss upon other people, innocent people. But it's also important that we're sensitive enough to realize those individuals who we can return to society as productive members and how we can deal with their addiction, just like with drugs and alcohol, and that we can deal effectively with it, and that we can deal appropriately with it in the criminal justice system. I'd like to also take this out of the theoretical for a moment and share with you an actual experience that we had in Amherst Court with a young man of about 20 years of age who had involved himself in a progressive level of criminal activity, so much so that internet gambling and scratch-offs and other modes of gambling, sports betting, and so forth, had so consumed his existence that he was involving himself in every level of crime you could imagine, including stealing assets from his father's medical practice in order to provide the requisite financial resources to keep involved. And once it reached the desperation stage where he had no more assets and the criminal activity was being detected, he was brought into our court. And you know, we had two choices. The choice is to either put him through the traditional system and punish him and hold him up as a deterrence for the rest of society, or we can do as we believe is possible in gambling court and try to reclaim a life, a nonviolent individual consumed by an addiction. So we sent him at first to intensive outpatient, and realizing that we had certain obstacles, then placed him as one of our first individuals to be put into an inpatient facility out of state. This particular experience that lasted the better part of a year brought back to us now a 20-year-old young man who's finishing his college education, has made all the necessary restitution and accountability as a problem gambler must,
and at the same time is no longer looking to a criminal lifestyle to give his life meaning. A life reclaimed instead of a life lost.